So I think we have to ask, what exactly BP is doing wrong here? Or could this be a situation that's so bad that there's just no way that any company could talk their way out? Well, joining me from New York is a PR expert, Brian Dobson, who focuses on crisis management. Brian, thanks for joining me. My first question here is, why has BP let Tony Hayward be the face of the company for so long? He's just made one mistake after another, and he doesn't seem to stop. Couldn't they have learned their lesson a little sooner?
Well, when a CEO takes off, as Tony Hayward has, and makes comments that are inappropriate, I mean, he made a series from the fact that he called the spill tiny relative to the ocean. He said he wants his life back when there were 11 people who lost their lives, and so on. It's reflective of a corporate culture, and it's also reflective of a board of directors who allows this. Now, for a massive company the size of BP to have a CEO who does not really communicate well is a major mistake from the get-go. So,
is that so rare, though, Brian?
May have had, yeah.
Is that rare for a CEO to not be a master of communication?
No, it's not rare. As a matter of fact, you've seen it in several situations recently. There are some companies where the CEO is very, very well adapted to communications. But if you take a look at Toyota, Mr. Toyota was off. The Mattel crisis with magnets and leaded paint, they blew it at the outset. It's remarkably surprising that companies that appoint CEOs to be the shepherds of asset bases that are mega billions are failing in the ability to communicate effectively. It showed quite an attitude, and that's probably reflected right through the organization. So although BP had a crisis plan on paper, they did not buy into it at the corporate levels that were required. And they're really making one misstep after another. They got out of the box slow, they've been slow since, and they keep on compounding the problem.
Well, Brian,
Brian,
let me cut you off there for a second. You know, regarding your comment with Mr. Toyota, I mean, I thought that was at least an emotional response. He came and he cried in front of the people and he apologized. This was something that had to do with honor. And then let's be honest, when it comes to a British guy telling Americans that he's oh so sorry that he just ruined and polluted their entire Gulf and made so many jobs disappear, do you really think that people were going to care and listen to what this man had to say?
No, I think he lost his credibility, really. With respect to Mr. Toyota, I agree. That was a heartfelt response. He is obviously a gentleman who understands the gravity of the situation. But as a company, they did not move to him for many, many weeks. They were redirecting the story, as BP tried to do. They were trying to minimize it, contain it, and so forth in a way that is not really effective. Anyone in the news business, anyone familiar with the news business, which you must be in these situations, realizes that facts will come to the fore. So the best way to handle crisis public relations is to utilize the facts, get out ahead of the story and manage it, because if you don't, then you chase it. When you are hesitant to be open, when you're trying to redirect information, you end up chasing the story, you're correcting the story, and you're compounding the damage. In crisis PR, it's proven that there's a crisis arc, is what I refer to it as, a crisis arc. You have a major problem, your distributors, your customers, and the public is outraged about it. It's immediately important for you to evidence confidence and capability about handling it, because the arc continues. It moves to Congress. You'll be going to congressional hearings, which Tony Hayward will be doing on the 17th.
All right,
and then it moves further there.
Brian, sorry, we're running out of time, so I keep interrupting you because I want to get my last question in. How much then does the media play a role in this? Because like you said, BP was actually denying them access. There are videos of these people telling the journalists to go away, not to cover what these beaches really looked like. And at the same time, the networks have been devoting all of their time to covering this oil spill, but they haven't necessarily been asking the tough questions. And as soon as they go to commercial break, BP is one of their advertisers.
Well, they haven't really been asking the very tough questions, but the reality of the situation is that we have 24-hour news. If you really want to fight that, you might as well move back a century. This is the 21st century, and you have to act that way. You have to be aware of what the assets at play are. including your own. The shareholder values here are being hurt very, very significantly just as a corporate entity. But the environmental and the ecological impact on America is so significant, and BP has made a major mistake in not opening its wallet and making that money available. In the first 3 months of this
Brian,
year,
I have to cut you off because we're out of time here, but very quickly, will BP, can they recover from this, yes or no?
They will recover over time. There'll be significant changes. Whether or not they have to merge into another company or make management changes remains to be seen.
Great, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us.